Hey, Bros, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. I've gotten a bunch of time in Tunisia, and at this point, I want to do a quick little tips and tricks guide for Tunisia to help you guys get started. So let's jump right into it with our first tip, and that is, guys, start off strong. And what I mean by that is when you're coming into these campaigns, and this goes for any campaign that you haven't played in yet, not just Tunisia, but obviously Tunisia is the newest one, so important here. And it's once you get to level 2 in both campaigns, you're going to unlock logistics and you're going to unlock your assault squads. At level 3, you're going to get your fighter squadron. And the important thing here, guys, is I think it's best to go into your logistics and buy a bunch of troop reinforcements here. And the reason being is that if you do this, you can fill up your squads with really, really high level soldiers right off the bat. And it's really great to do this because you're going to reduce the chances of getting a bunch of crappy extra soldiers that you're not really going to want. You're not going to fill up your reserves with fighter pilots and attacker pilots and mortarmen and bombers, like these soldier types that you only need a couple of, because if you only are level 2, the only soldiers that you can unbox are assaulters, snipers, tankers, and troopers, which are going to be the core of your army for the most part, with the exception of snipers. But these are the troops that you really, really want to have high rank of. So if we go to my soldiers here, I've spent about, I don't know, 200 or so bronze orders. And I get it. Not everyone has 200 bronze orders just to spend like that. But spend what you got. And if you look here, I've got all my squads filled up with at least 3 stars. I've got a 4-star trooper. My tanker squad is almost all 4 stars. My assault squad is 4 stars here. I have a 4-star here that I didn't put in. 3 stars. 3 and 4 stars, and you can see my reserve is just filled with 3 stars. I mean, it's 3 stars across the board. And so whenever I go to the academy, I'm going to be able to turn all these 2 stars into 3 stars. I'm going to turn the 3 stars into 4 stars and the 4 stars into 5 stars. And I should be able to get very high rank soldiers very, very quickly, which is going to help me get good perks and really get through the campaign even faster. Now, other important things that you can do, make sure you consolidate your gear and things like that. Get those Molotovs off. Get explosive packs on when you can, spend that kind of stuff. An important thing that you can do that I don't think a lot of people realize is if you do have the premium squad here, the premium biker squad, you can remove the MP40 from here and you can actually equip any gun you want. So I actually just replaced the MP40s with their Carcanos because I don't really use the motorcycle squad a lot. And then I went ahead and I just gave my assaulters the MP40, which means that I have some MP40s on my soldiers when you don't unlock the MP40 to level 14. And you can do this for the allies as well and get some Thompsons pretty early. So kind of strong there. Just give yourself some extra firepower right off the bat. You can see here I gave all my guys explosion packs. I don't actually, I forgot to give this guy a med pack. But again, point being here, guys, start off strong. Get high rank soldiers as soon as you can and start leveling them up. Because again, as you level up, this pool of random troop reinforcements is going to get polluted. And then, you know, you're going to be getting a bunch of fighter pilots that are rank 5 and stuff that you're not really going to want to use. And it's going to make it harder to level up your troopers and things like that. Use silver orders for these guys later on because you don't need very many of these while you do need a lot of troopers, especially in this campaign where bolt actions are going to reign supreme. Tip number 2 is to think vertically. You should do this in every campaign that you're playing, but it's especially important in Tunisia because we have so many buildings in this campaign that are 2 stories, 3 stories, and 4 stories. We even have a lot of objectives that can be held from the top floor of a building. So make sure you guys are getting on top of these, these giant buildings, these big buildings, sniping enemies who are below you, picking them off as they try to get to the objectives. And then if they do get past you, they're probably only going to have a couple squad members left and your team can probably mop them up. Now, not only is it important for killing enemies, it can also be really important for getting information. You're going to be able to see enemy troop movements, enemy vehicles, things like that. And be able to warn your team if you're playing in a squad or just, drop a mark. Hopefully a bomber comes by or maybe some artillery and things like that. Now, it's also important to realize that the enemy is going to take these positions as well. So it's good to clear out these tops of buildings so you stop getting picked off. If you are getting picked off a bunch, look up, look around you, look on those rooftops of buildings and things like that, because oftentimes that is where the guy is at. That's where the sniper is. And he's just going to keep taking down your dudes and your teammates until someone clears them out. So make sure to go and clear those guys out and make sure to take the positions for yourself. Think vertically. Next up, tip number 3 is my favorite new thing in the game. It is smoke artillery. Once you have upgraded this in the upgrade menu for your radio operator squad, it is unique to the radio operator squad. Once you've done the upgrade, just like you would with, frequent artillery or whatever, and you are in game, then all you got to do is press, the artillery, bring up the menu, press R just like you would to change tank shells, and then draw a line by placing 2 points. And what you'll see is you get this huge wall of smoke that is so dense, so effective at blocking the enemy vision, and it is great for pushing in objective. Now, this smoke does go through walls and things like that. We'll see if that stays, but man, if you're able to get this smoke down on a point and then get in the objective with, some assault squads, you are going to just dominate. It's great for those reluctant teams that just want to sit in the back of the map sniping, or they just can't seem to push up. Keep in mind that the smoke will change how dense it is based on the distance between the 2 points that you put down. So you have a limited number of shells, so a really, really, really long line will be much less dense than a shorter line. So just keep that in mind when you're placing the smoke. You want to make sure that the smoke is short enough to where it's dense enough and will stay long enough for your team to get a proper push going on. But overall, guys, use this smoke. It is fantastic for taking objectives. You will be able to just stop the enemy from being able to hit you at all and being able to see you, and you'll be able to get on the objective much more easily. Next up is to dig trenches, another unique mechanic to Tunisia that hopefully we will see here in the future. Guys, trenches can be so powerful. I mean, they are crazy. You can see here, I will end up basically holding this entire objective because I built some fortifications. The AI just is not great at hitting you while you're in this fortification. And they can just totally swing the balance of a match. Now, I haven't used them a ton. You can see here, obviously, this is one of my first times using them, and I used it to great effect. And I'm sure, guys, that those of you out there who love building fortifications and love, building big trench lines and big fortifications and things like that, you will find some really, really crazy ways to use these trenches. I mean, I'm sure you can do stuff where you build a big long line and put barbed wire in or something like that to make it hard for the enemy to pass over it or something. Or filling, digging a big old ditch and then having like a tank drive into it to make like a hold down position. Oh man, I mean, the possibilities out there are probably pretty endless. And really, the more creative of you out there, I'm excited to see you guys do some pretty crazy stuff. I've seen people dig giant trench lines to objectives to help attackers get to the point better. And guys, I mean, it was effective. Like, it was kind of funny and it was crazy, but people have done some pretty wild stuff with trenches, and I'm sure we're only going to see more as time goes on. So let me know down in the comments, guys, how you guys have been using trenches, how you guys have found them, if you guys have found any crazy way to use trenches, any creative ideas and things like that. I'd love to hear them. Next up is another tip that is relevant for all campaigns, but especially for Tunisia, and it is to play to your strengths. Play to the strengths of your weapons, play to the strengths of your soldiers. And what I mean by this, guys, is if you're using an SMG, fight at close quarters. Don't fight at long range. Don't fight at medium range. If you're using a rifle, fight at medium range. Don't fight at close range. Don't fight, up close and personal and things like that, because you're going to get beat by these weapons that are designed to be used at the opposite ranges, right? At close range or medium range, whatever it is. And it's especially important in Tunisia because you don't have those semi-automatic weapons. You don't have your M1 Garands. You don't have your SVTs and things like that, where maybe you're at a disadvantage with the Gewehr up against a PPSH, but I mean, if you're quick on the draw, you're gonna win that fight, right? In Berlin or something like that. You don't have that here. With the bolt action, you get one shot, and if you miss, you're dead. And honestly, you're probably just gonna miss anyway, right? It's a lot harder to use these bolt action weapons in close quarters, right? The hip fire is not as good. You can't fire off 3 rounds and things like that in quick succession. So really, guys, make sure you're using the best weapon for the situation, and you will have a lot more success in this campaign. Finally, flank, and then once you've done that, flank again. These maps are huge. You have so much room to maneuver behind the enemy, to cut off their counterattacks, to cut off, their pushes onto an objective and things like that, guys. If you have a solid team that you feel can hold an objective, you're queued up with some people, take the opportunity to get behind the enemy, flank around, get a gunner squad, get the motorcycle squads are especially good for doing this. The armored cars that the Axis have, the AB-41, and then the Diamer or whatever it is for the Allies, the armored cars, they are great for doing this as well. Just cut off those reinforcements by getting behind the enemy, throw some explosive packs just like that, wipe out a ton of enemies, because guys, you can do so much damage by getting behind the enemies in this campaign because of the size of these maps is so much bigger than any of the other campaigns. So it is very, very easy to do all of that damage. But that is it for me, everybody. Thank you guys so much for watching. Those of you that have played Tunisia and have put a lot of time into Tunisia, do you guys agree with these tips? Do you guys think there's some other major tips that I missed out on? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, remember to like and subscribe. It does help me out, and I do appreciate it. You can also come check me out over at twitch.tv/HeyQuadro. Stream Monday through Thursday. Love to have you guys over there. And also, guys, as always, you can join our community Discord. The link for that is down in the description below. Without anything else, thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy.